G'day Cats fans and welcome to the final bell for another week. I have the pleasure of doing the intro today because, as you will be aware, our mate Cameron Ling is using the school holiday break to get away as he does every year with his family. So I hope you're having a good time, Lingy. He did get to go on his holiday after calling a fantastic Cats win on Saturday night at the MCG. And joining me this week is a two-time premiership teammate of Lingy's and the current Cats runner, and he's got a day job as well. I've got Shannon Byrnes with me. Welcome, Burnsy.
Thank you, Meg. I must say, Lingy, he has everything on his terms. Like K-Rock, he works 3 or 4 days a week, tells them when he wants to work, and holidays he just takes whenever he wants as well. So I guess, premiership captain, all of that, but it does seem to all be on Lingy's terms when he wants it. So we'll give a wave, mate. I'm sure you'll be tuning in.
He's behind us here too somewhere.
Oh yeah, he's everywhere. He's a legend. He's a legend.
He's a legend. He's a legend. We now say that officially.
We love him, and you'll be missed, mate. I won't be filling your shoes completely, but I'll do my best.
Yeah. So I mentioned that you are a runner for our men's team, the first dual premiership player to become a runner, but you also work in the development space. What's your official title or role or responsibilities?
It stretches across a club in many different ways, I suppose. The match day runner is one part of the role. Player development, managers essentially look after players off field, and I'm very lucky to be part of a 4-man team, I suppose. Mark Worthington takes care of the 4+ players. My focus is on the first to third years. And we've got Brett Goods, who does the Indigenous players for the club. And then Dave Williams is our club psych. So I feel like we're as well resourced in the off-field space as any team across the league. Very fortunate for that. But having playing experience, I also get involved in the training track and sort of fit in wherever the coaches really want me to jump in and do a little bit of mentoring and skill development work with our small forwards who, biasly, I think, as good a group as there is in the league. So I feel fortunate to be able to have some administrative roles, but also get out in the field on training days, but also on game day as well.
Yeah, Lingy might have the best of all the worlds, but yours is pretty good in terms of a good balance of things across the football department. So you're also now a podcast host. I know,
right? So I'll put that on the CV, chuck it on the LinkedIn, and get your name tagged in that one as well.
Oh, I'd have to get my LinkedIn profile going for that to happen. Well, I'm sure you're an avid listener, so you will know that structure-wise, we're going to recap the game from the weekend first. But then, following that, I'd like to have a little runners segment where we, get the ins and outs of that match day role. Hopefully, a few tidbits and shenanigans and have little lulls along the way. But the Cats got up with a big, 45-point victory in the end over Essendon, who were in the top 4 coming into the clash, and everyone knows that there was a bit of pressure on the Cats and people were doubting perhaps our form, and even I think, the footy department itself was saying we probably weren't or haven't been at our best recently, but by goodness didn't we flex in that third quarter? Yeah,
we certainly did. And I think what was great this week were from where some of the improvement came from, and just the debut, obviously, of Lawson Humphreys, which I'm sure we'll touch on, but having Mitch Nevitt back in the side and just the excitement and vibe that brought to the group immediately. But it was, like you say, we were needing to have a response for how we'd been travelling in weeks gone by, and Essendon, obviously a top 4 side, was a great challenge, and they certainly took it up to us in that first half.
Yeah, you mentioned a few things that I wanted to touch on. I'm really interested because you're right in amongst it in the pre-game, and when I went down into the rooms beforehand, and a few people said to me, the vibe is good today. Now, hopefully, as a player, you try and do that week in, week out and lift it and you sort of want to emulate the best of yourself. But the reality is, for whatever reason, whatever little magic, some weeks you're up and about and some weeks it's a little bit harder. But there certainly seemed pre-game to be a real sense that it was a special night.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to measure the vibe, and everyone gets a little bit of a different view of what that vibe is, and coaches try to read it as much as anyone because they can't play, and you're like, you think they're ready for it? I think they're ready. But having Lawson in there, having Mitch in there, like, I'm not saying these are the only reasons, but like that shifts the vibe immediately. You've got new faces in the team, and people are excited about that. They want to give them a good experience, and everyone says you should be the same week to week, and you should, but the fact of the matter is it's human nature to fluctuate with that. But if you can inject a few different stimuli or however you want to.
Very good.
Yeah, let's go with that. From week to week, it does. It lifts and changes the way that players, get themselves ready for the game. Takes the focus out of themselves because they want, to make sure that their new teammates are equipped for what they need to know, for what they need to bring to the team. So, yeah, I would agree that the vibe was good. We want the vibe to be good every week, but it felt especially good on the weekend.
Yeah, let's talk about Lawson, and there will be, as hopefully Cats fans have had a look at, there's a debut feature online, so shout out to producer Jake and the team for putting that one together. But one of the all-time jumper presentation speeches was given by Lawson's dad, Ross, and his mum, Jodie, was there as well with the jumper. Take us through what was said.
Well, I love the family presentation. I think it's great to have a player present a jumper as well, don't get me wrong, but the family have ridden absolutely every part of that player's journey from, obviously day one. So the emotion, you can't create that anywhere else but other than what the family bring to that space. And it's almost like the great handover of, like, they've done everything with that player to this point in time, and here it is, and they hand over that jumper, and some speak better than others, but I guess the raw human emotion part of it I love no matter what. But Ross on the weekend, as people would have seen on the socials, spoke especially well. And it wasn't like he was just speaking to Lawson. It felt like the whole team was
bring great effort and synergy will come.
Synergy just really resonated with everyone. Everyone was just like bouncing off this word synergy, and it actually became part of the pre-game in the VFL game the next day as well. So, while the emotion of it is just awesome, I thought Ross, just spoke especially well, and got everyone ready to go and give Lawson a great night.
He even brought in the, obviously it was the country round, and we had the fantastic Guernseys, and he spoke about the pride at each level that Lawson had taken in pulling on his jumper. So, I mean, side note, you're a country boy, right?
I am.
Were the boys loving the fact that they had the juniors?
I've never seen players so excited as to have their the emblem of their grassroots footy team essentially represented on the jumper. I would have loved one in my day, because that's where your love of the game started. That's where footy was just everything to you, and it still is. But it's just, you just have these really warm feelings attached to the emblem of your grassroots club. The boys were just comparing them, walking around like, what's your team look like?
That's great.
I love that aspect of the jumper on the weekend as well.
Speaking of the jumper, the number 17 was what he pulled on.
Yeah. I guess I just said that, past players, that would be great. I didn't end up doing it, and with good reason, because I knew Ross was going to speak so well. But no, I said that to Law, so just so happy to see the 17 running around out there again. And it's no disrespect to the last two guys that have had it, but they've both been massive and have nothing Big Sav, love him to death, and I think Hamish McIntosh before that don't play anything like I used to play. So seeing it out there, it's like I can't really see the 17. But
or the left foot, whereas now.
Yeah, whereas Lawson is, smaller, sort of faster. He's he can kick both sides. I certainly couldn't do that, but he does use his left foot really well, and it was cool to see the 17 back out in the ground again.
One final question about him, because one thing that I know Lingy really values in his, and we'll speak about it in his absence, is that players are really well prepared to succeed in this team once they do get their opportunity to debut in the AFL side. And it seemed that was true for Lawes. And there are a lot. We got a lot of fan questions today, and a lot are around how well certain players are performing at VFL level. It seemed like he was absolutely ready to go, and it just held him in really good stead.
Yeah, our VFL team's travelling so well at the moment. I think they're second or third on the ladder. And I think that in the end becomes the hallmark of great teams in the AFL is having a really good, solid side in their VFL program because, they're playing the right way. You've got about 5 guys that could easily be playing from week to week. But I guess how you keep that group, positive that aren't getting the games is like they're just buying into what they're doing each week in the VFL, and they genuinely love playing with each other, and they're genuinely happy when one of those guys gets an opportunity. I think Mark Corrigan and Nigel Lappin especially do an amazing job with preparing these boys in our academy program to be ready for whenever that opportunity, I suppose, presents itself.
Yeah. Well, a couple of other performances to touch on as we recap the game. There are a few positional changes, that is getting a lot of attention, but we've had DK in the ruck again. We did see Stewie going into the midfield and giving one of, according again to producer Jake and other media outlets, a really significant defensive mid performance, and it meant that Zach Tui, went behind the ball and had a really impressive game, and possibly, the structure of our defence really found itself again. What did you make of some of the shifts? Say what you can. I know you probably have things that you can't pass on.
Yeah, no, I thought they worked really well, and I think what makes those things work really well is the willingness of the players to play different roles. Because you can get pretty set in playing a position on the ground and think, well, I've got this down pat. Yep. Don't just throw me here, throw me there, like it's going to throw my game out. But I think if you've got a team that's just like, where do you need me? I'll do it. I'll make it work. And that's the attitude that Stewie brought to that role. That's the attitude Zach Tui brought to that role. And they're the attitudes you try to create with your younger players as well. It's like you're not just here just, because you can take a good mark or because you're a lockdown back. Like there might be times where we need you in other positions. We might need to throw you around. We're going to get injuries. We need to shuffle players around. You need players ready to take whatever roles presented to them at that given time, and tackle it with the attitude that I'm going to make this work. Not, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like when do I get back to where I feel comfortable? So, what do I make of the changes? That's a really long-winded question.
No, I loved it.
I think that
short question,
long-winded answer. Sorry, great question. I think they worked, and they worked because of our players' attitude to those changes. So.
Yeah, and I think you have to have, as you touched on, the skill set as well, and that's what I sort of observe. I think these guys must make sure they're continuing to develop themselves in, football skills that are necessary wherever you play. Like, there's no, Stewie, say, goes into the middle, but he's a fantastic contest player, whether that's in, aerial contests down back, clearing D50, or just being a massive body that'll tip people over in the middle of the ground. And I think we can see that when you, I assume when you work with players and develop them, it's about, developing that mentality around getting moved, but also having the skill sets to be a holistic footballer. Yeah,
absolutely. And like you say, his skill set doesn't only just work in defensive 50. He's one of the most brutal, players in the contest in the league down back. But if you move him into the midfield, he's also brutal in the midfield as well. So his skills translate to different parts of the ground. And it's just, I suppose, letting players know that you can use this down here, but you can use it in many, many different aspects of your game.
Yeah, that seems true of DK too. He seems to be embracing the new challenge.
Yep. Love the and it's been great. Like I love the brotherly matchup to begin with. It's just like that put him in the mindset straight away. Is I'm not letting you have one up on me here. for bragging rights, if nothing else. But then again, straight away next week, same thing. Just he's bringing an attitude that I'm going to make this work. I know that's not where I've played my whole career, but this is where the team needs me now. And even out in the training track today, he's into our ruckman, not going easy on them or trying to get an easy ride because that's not where he normally plays. He's like, no, I'm going to own this position now while I'm playing this position.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more, I guess, performance we've got to touch on is probably the BOG. Ollie Dempsey had a pretty memorable game, and we speak about Zach behind the ball, and one of the I think when our game's going really well, we're spreading the ground and we're able to change lanes, and it was a bold kick I reckon Zach took pretty early in the game that set up that first goal. But he accessed Ollie on that fat side, and who kicked the goal in the end? Can't remember who it was. Mitch Duncan.
Yeah. Oh, was that the first goal?
One? Was that the play I'm talking about, Jakey? Yeah, great.
Yeah,
one of them. And the skill of his own little, what would we call it, soccer?
Yeah, nice little soccer goal there.
He was in it all on the weekend, wasn't he? How have you seen his third year?
Yeah, third year. His development's been great. He's got like a basketball background, and it's ironic that he won the country player of the round because he's as city as it gets growing up,
which is rare in the team.
The heart of Melbourne, but he's just an awesome kid that's willing to learn. I think you'll see him most days. He's usually the last one out in the track, just working on his deficiencies, I suppose. But I think that's what I love most about Ollie is that he's obviously going really well at the moment, but his ceiling is so much higher.
Yeah.
Just like he hasn't played footy, hasn't been his number one sport his whole life. Like there's still so much he can learn and make him go to another level again, so which is really exciting for him.
Rising star, yes or no?
Well, yeah, I'm biased. I hope he does win it, and that would be great. But I don't think that's going to be the defining part of his career. I think he could have a really long, pretty decorated one if he continues to work the way he does at his game. And I still see a lot of growth in Ollie's game going forward. One
of the things that I like to joke about in our program is I'm a city girl myself.
Yeah, no, nothing against the city either.
But to get the approval of country people,
yes,
to be like an honorary. Would you say Ollie's attitude is that of a hardworking? Yeah, we love that.
Yes, no, he's definitely an honorary one of us now, and he loves life down on the coast as well. So he's welcome down here with open arms.
Awesome. All right, a couple other players to touch on. Bose continued his form. Obviously, we love that Danger did play on the weekend. And one who I definitely should have mentioned in the intro is about to play his 200th game this week and is actually coming up onto the pod to join us for a little chat. Gary Rowan.
Yep.
Not the sub this week, played the full game, and turns out he can use his power for 4 quarters.
Yeah, no, I've loved the chemistry we've had as the runner warms up the sub. With Gary, but he was well and truly ready to get a full crack at it on the weekend, and he certainly delivered with that. 2 really crucial goals for us. His forward pressure is elite, and crashed a few packs as well. So I'm really looking forward to chatting to Chucky and reflecting on his 200 games. He should be really proud of it.
Yeah, and he is actually one of our Bendigo Bank Meet the Moment nominees. Do you know about Bendigo Bank? Oh no,
fill me in.
Meg. Well, we get the fans every week to vote on 2 moments that perhaps. Would you say they're 1%ers? There's sort of 1%ers or moments in the game that can really turn it for the Cats, and it's when a player has met the moment. Our nominees this week were Gary's reverse spoil, the timing of that one.
That was amazing.
That's set up the goal, and Mitch Nevitt, another playing his first game for the season at AFL level. He is back with a flight intercept mark to save the goal. in the second quarter.
Yeah. No.
Any other moments for you?
No, I'm all about the 1%ers. I must say, we actually acknowledge that with our younger players. We have a bit of it's not called 1%ers moment. I won't.
No, keep it in house.
I'll keep it in house, but we do reward players for moments in games that really, we feel can sort of turn the momentum potentially, or they just win those ones that they're probably not expected to win. we really value that, and I love this award. I'm all about
great.
it. I think
I think because we're a bit later on the pod this week. Has the winner been announced? We don't know. It may have. Gosh, we don't know. We've got to get on. We're about all of them.
Yeah, I do remember jumping out of my seat when Nev took that mark going back. So if I had to lean one way, probably for Nev.
For that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair effort. All right, I reckon that's... Is there anything else we haven't touched on from the game? Game style, kick goals, Jazz getting up and about.
Lawson was great.
This was great.
Yeah.
Lots of people were great.
Yeah.
Where though? We're going pretty well in the rain.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. It was good vibes. Let's hopefully continue it and carry it into the Hawks this week.
Love that. Well, we'll get to preview that one, but we have arrived at the requested from everyone who knew that you were coming onto the pod today. We wanted a runners segment.
Love that.
Questions for Burnsy. We need a more creative title. Run with.
Okay.
Run with, Burnsy.
Yes. This is good.
Oh, I've got dot points here, but first and foremost, the first one is the Luke Jackson story. Can you tell us about the shenanigans? There was an Age article that I couldn't access because of the paywall.
I guess I had it was a unique situation in that I was the runner for Melbourne in 2021 and had been for a few years before that.
Premiership, yeah.
It was a premiership, yeah. And then came to Geelong in 2022. Premiership, yeah.
Someone calling the difference.
But I guess I knew we were playing Melbourne here, and obviously I knew all the Melbourne players really well, and they're used to me being the runner. So I thought I would just test it out and just see if I could say something to them and maybe they would, go along with it. So I'd run behind Luke Jackson and his nickname's Dogger. So Dogger, off the ground.
He's just correct.
And anyway, Dogger hears me, turns, runs to the bench. I was running to the bench at the same time, but as I'm getting there, I can see them just like the confused look on Melbourne's. What are you doing, mate? Get back on the ground. No. He's looking around. I'd already gone and sat back down by this stage. Like, I don't know whether he'd even worked out like what had happened, but managed to get him to run to the bench when he wasn't meant to be. So I enjoyed that. That one. I love Lukey Jackson. He's a great fella. That was one of my favourite moments as runner.
All right. Speaking of favourites and not so favourite moments, what's the best and worst message you've ever had to carry out that you can share on the pod?
Yeah, the best ones had been in those grand finals. The message was basically just to go out and tell the players how much time there was until they were premiership players. So it's
amazing.
5 minutes until you're a premiership player. It was just they're waiting for some sort of direction and just to give.
Is that just off your own bat or you?
Yeah.
That's so good.
It's just like.
You've been there. You'd know what you want to hear.
Yeah, it's just like let's have these boys enjoy this moment. And you wouldn't do that obviously if it was close, but in both those grand finals, it was well and truly done. So I really enjoyed that, and just seeing the look on their face when it goes from waiting for an instruction to, how good's this? Like, so that was really cool. And being out there, like when Joel kicked that goal in the 2022. Like I was out there for a message and was almost part of the celebration as he was kicking it. Like you just don't get that experience if you're not the runner. So I love that. And like the worst ones are always like when you have to tell a player, well, generally to bring them off or that they've just done something wrong, because as a player, I knew when I'd done something wrong. Yeah. So I didn't really need the guy in pink to run up and tell me I'd done something wrong. Sometimes you get told, like, go out and tell him, blah, blah, blah. And generally I'll go up and go, like, what am I going to say to you? And if they say it, then it's like, all right, just don't do that again. Like, or, you should have been here. But you do. Sometimes I've had assistants say, you go out and you say this word for word.
I was going to say.
I'm going to watch you say it. So I have to go out there and I have to go out with all the theatrics. And sometimes I'm not saying exactly what they say, but I try to pretend that I am. But they're never fun ones to give. But I do get my own back from the players as well. Like there's a bit of white line fever with a few blokes, and I cop a few sprays. I never take it personally, but sometimes I do get treats left on my desk with an apology for what they've said to me on the weekend. But like I know it's all part of the game, and I love that side of it as well.
Who gives you the most and who gives you the least? Whether it's positive or a spray or whatever. Who do you like? Have you heard me? And
well, the forwards always they expect me to get out there for a goal because I like to get out there and give them the like.
I have noted on the pod before that is one of my favourite things, and I've said to you in the corridors, whether it's a player kicking their first goal or it's Tommy Hawkins. Tommy, and we said Tom Hawkins kicking his 790 whatever it was. You're out there. Yeah. You're a vibe.
No, that's part of my KPIs is that I make sure I get there for the goals because I just love that part of it, and the forwards are almost like, where is he? Like, get there for a cello. So they always give me plenty back. Hawk always gives me heaps. And the midfield's probably the ones that are like it's so hard to get a message to them because they're in the game the whole time. So you've got to get in there and sort of almost yell it in a real short space of time and hope, did you get that? Did you get that? And like some will tell you they got it in different ways.
They're probably pretty cooked too.
Yeah. But they're the hardest to, really converse with just because of the position that they play on the ground. And the backs are always awesome. They love a bit of feedback as well. So,
Speaking of KPIs, do you wear a GPS? How far do you run?
I just wear my watch. It's usually around it's not as far as it used to be. So it's around sort of anywhere 10 to 12 Ks a game. But there's a lot of rules now on how long you're supposed to be out in the ground. So
it's high speed meters.
It's all high speed stuff. Yeah. It's like 90 seconds you've got to deliver your message, and like I say, if the play's happening, it can be hard to get in and get that message at times.
If the play's happening, do you ever stand out there and think, come on, you blokes, I could still do that?
No, I don't. I try not to. Well, I don't have time to sort of think about that stuff. I just more look for the positive and try and feel like we're. I feel like that's part of the role as being on the bench and being down there is that you need to be seen as like they can do anything. They can come back from anything. Like we're in this game right till the end. If you feel like the whole bench is flat, I don't know. I used to feel as a player like, oh geez, we're done here. So I don't know. Like
there's a whole performance to it.
Yeah. So you don't play a huge role, but I feel like that's one part of the role you can play is to keep the belief up, no matter where the team is situated in the game.
All right, a couple of these ones aren't necessarily from me, but I'd like to know who is your greatest inspiration / competition in the running world.
Well, there's a lot of past players that.
None is decorated, but continue.
No, there's a few actually. Like Brett Kirk has been Sydney's for a while. Trav Cloak's a very different style runner to me. Wears a much bigger uniform than I do.
That was also one of the questions. What sides are we running with?
It is small. Or
are you big?
Yeah, well, maybe you get stuck in the dryer every now and then.
Anyway, back to the original question.
Sorry,
so those guys, your competition.
No.
And what are you competing on?
We just have a bit of fun with it, really. Like it's just racing on and off the ground. Brent Harvey was doing it for a while there. There's just a lot of past players, and I think the only thing we're competing with is just when we're getting back to the bench and first back to the line. But some are louder than others. Chad Corns used to just stand there and scream at everyone. He would dominate with his voice. But I don't know. It's just a good role, and I think all of us that do it just enjoy the fact that we can still be out there and in some aspect.
And I guess lastly on it, I'm curious, do you feel like you have good and bad games yourself?
No, there's probably a couple of messages that haven't got through that I felt a bit guilty with at times. There's some key position changes that you have to make in a short space of time. and you don't always have the time to get to every player to make it work. So I think that's when you feel it. I guess if you can have a bad game doing the running. And my only other thing I don't ever want to do is give away a free kick, because
my goodness, that would be
should have no influence on the game negatively whatsoever in that role.
And what's the biggest risk with that being? Like, what are the free kicks you give away?
You've got to be 25 metres away from stoppages, and you're not allowed inside 50 when they're having a shot at goal or there's a stoppage. Obviously not allowed to get in players' way, blocking space, all this sort of stuff. I read the rules two or three times over, because I just I just don't want to give away that free kick. That would be a really bad day. So I haven't done that yet. So hopefully it remains that way.
You're doing a great job, and I'm sure you are many other runners' inspiration, and maybe Werther. He does.
There's a young runner out there.
Forget the premierships.
Yeah, don't no matter what
With
size
great
you
power
are,
comes
you
great
can
responsibility. Well, I hope you've got a few more premierships in you. That's for sure. We are going to speak to one premiership player after the break. He's about to play his 200th game on the weekend. Gary Rowan is set to join us. So we'll have a chat to him before previewing this weekend's big game.
Awesome.
Welcome back to the Final Bell. As promised, we have what is a To the Final Bell exclusive. A Gary Rowan interview ahead of his 200th AFL game on the weekend. Gary, welcome to the pod. Thank you for coming. How are you feeling?
Shannon, thanks for having me. Feeling good.
Great to have you here, Chucky.
Now, I want to go back to the very beginning, because I work with you in our AFLW program. I see you every day at the club, but I did still manage to read your Wikipedia article to do my background research before getting you on today. I read that before it all started, obviously you're a local boy, you're from Cobden. Do you call that local?
Yeah, Cobden,
Yep, local. There was a period during your teens where you thought maybe AFL wasn't going to happen for you. Is that true?
A little bit. Yeah, struggled to get a game back down the local area.
What was the feedback back then? Why weren't you getting a game?
Not sure. Obviously not Shannon, but I was pretty small. I had a growth spurt later when I was like 17, 18. So that kind of helped me. But yeah, I used to play netball back down there.
Actually, I read that on there too.
So I played netball for a year.
Goal shooter.
I was centre, goal defence.
Oh, nice.
So they were my positions, but no, I really enjoyed that.
So you weren't getting a game at the Cobden Bombers?
I was a different club, Timboon Demons.
Oh, okay. I saw the Bombers on your top on the weekend.
Then I moved to Cobden.
Okay. Yeah, right. So when did the growth spurt come?
When I was 17.
Yeah.
And is that when the speed came? Obviously, I want to speak to you about your particular skill set, but were you always known for your pace?
Yeah, majority of the time, yeah. I was obviously quick. Running away from my brother and the old man and the cows and stuff on the farm. So
Paris is coming up. What was your fastest ever 100 metres? Do you know? Have you got a PB?
No, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, to be honest.
All right, okay. Then what's your top speed on your GPS? That's what I want to know.
I actually can't remember that either.
36?
It'd be over 36.
Over 36?
Definitely, yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think it's the record at the moment in the AFL. So if you've got it on the AFL tracker, you can...
Is that just for this year or for all time?
For all time.
Wow.
Okay. Well, and you're still getting up there, aren't you?
Do you remember that piece of play?
30... Yeah, I'm doing about 34s, 33s still. Okay.
When did you get the record? What?
I think it was last year, round 1.
Chasing, or did you have the footy in your hands?
It was Collingwood, I think. Hill had it in the middle and he took off and I ran from about full forward.
Yeah. This is one thing with I think you've got the best closing speed in the game. I don't think I've seen many that can. I think you put the fear into the opposition backs with the way you go about it. I probably did my highest speed was when I thought I was going to get the footy, but you tend to do it chasing blokes. Is that something that it's been a focus for you? I think like that you bring that as well as anyone in the league, that forward pressure. Has that always been a focus of yours?
Yeah, it's always been a focus. Using my speed as an asset, and I feel like a real big challenge. I really want to hunt them down, chase them from behind. So when I know they're going to take a bounce and I'm close by, I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Oh, well, it shows, mate. It shows. You should be proud.
Yeah, no, you should be proud, and I'm impressed that the top speeds remain the same. I think we're the same age, mate, and we're into our 30s, and the challenge to keep that top is difficult, but you've seemed to maintain it really well, which means that we've got to go a few years back to go back to the beginning. Was it your aspiration to play for the Cats when you were first drafted to Sydney? What was the sort of long-term goal?
I was a Geelong supporter growing up, living down this area. So I wanted to play for Geelong through draft and stuff. They said, I'll be picked before Geelong had their first pick. And I was like, just trade for it and I'll be good here.
God, it sucks to go top 10.
But I enjoyed my time at Sydney. And I had a feeling I might have come back eventually, but I'm glad I did in the end.
Who were your influences up in Sydney early days that took you under the wing, I guess?
So we had mentors a lot up in Sydney. My first couple of years was Adam Goods, and then Reece Shaw was probably another one that really helped me through, especially him when I had broke my leg.
So that was a pretty bad break for those that remember it. It was shown a lot on TV as well. They tend not to show those sort of gruesome injuries these days, but like that's a really hard thing to come back from mentally as much as physically, isn't it?
Big time. I had a compound fracture, so mentally I felt like I was 2 steps forward and then 3 back. Like I just couldn't get going. So Reece Shaw and Dan Hunter and Kieran Jack at the time were massive help for me. Mentally just kept pushing me through, and I'd say without them I probably would have just given it up. Yeah,
right. So for them, like, how I guess did they mentally, physically keep you going? Was it just sort of
just checking in every time? Just making sure I was doing my work that I needed to do. I was like 19, 20-year-old. So it was like my 3rd year into the system, and then pretty much 2 years out, and called it the dungeon at Sydney. Down in the dungeon on my own, no one else was really injured then, so I was doing all the hard yards on my own. So it's when you kind of learn to push through what you can push through, and mentally push through more. Yeah,
because rehab can be a lonely place, and I think that's where the culture of a footy club, I think Sydney have a great culture from outside looking in, and I feel like we've got a pretty good one here as well, but I think not every club sees those players going through that rehab journey on their own. It's the really good clubs that embrace everyone, and it can be easy to forget those players that are on the sidelines at times. It's by no surprise that like they've got players that see you in those times and are able to get you through it, and to come out the other side. It's not just your own battle at times. You need those people around you to get you through it. So I'm not surprised.
Is that what you feel? I guess this is it's a fantastic achievement, and as we touched on, last night when you were at training, it's taken a little while. You've had some, more than one challenge in your career. Is that where you get most pride out of this achievement? The fact that you've been able to stay at the top level despite missing games along the way?
Yeah, definitely. Missed it was almost 2 years when I broke the leg, and then had a lot of soft tissue injuries along the way, and broken bones and stuff. So. When I haven't really thought about it much this week, but I'm sure when I finish footy and stuff, I'll be more proud of sticking with it and the grind. Just pushing through to get to 200.
Yeah. So you played 106 at Sydney, I think. I think you're you're set to play your 100th Geelong game and later this year. So it's about even. You played in. Was it 2 grand finals with Sydney without the success, and then you decided to come back here? What was that sort of decision based around, and how did you feel returning home?
So it was a bit of an interesting thing. It was kind of like Swans were kind of rebuilding kind of thing. So a couple of us left. We got asked if we were happy to leave, and I pretty much just said, if I could get to Geelong, I'll be happy to help you out. So they made the connection, and down I came, and I really enjoyed Sydney. I loved it there, but it was probably I was at a time where I probably needed a change and something different, and I came down here, got a different role, and it was Scotty just wanted me to forward pressure like I do, and launch launch at the ball and crush packs and get my marking game back in it, which is I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I always get the impression when he speaks about you, he has sort of extreme belief in those abilities of yours. Is that what you value most in his coaching? He seems to have great belief in who you can be as a player, based mostly on your ability to impact games, like your high level of impact when you are on the field.
Yeah, definitely. I feel a lot confident that I have the trust in him, and he has the trust in me that I can do what I can do out there, and also helps with the runner. The runner comes out and gives you a good prep talk, which helps.
Always there for the vibe, mate. Try and keep it up. I love my forwards as well, so I'm always in your corner, brother. You know that.
Thanks, mate. But I really enjoyed Scotty. He's been great for me. Just giving me the confidence to do what I can do.
Yeah, I guess Cats fans are probably in universal agreement that the performance of yours that sticks most in their minds is the qualifying final from 2 years ago. How do you feel about that game? Do you feel like it epitomises, who you are when you're at your best? What did it mean to you to perform on that stage?
It was. I really enjoyed that day. It was good. It was probably one of the toughest and best games I reckon I've been a part of. It was back and forth most of the day, and I had a role that I could just launch at the footy, and the matchup suited me, which is good. So I let loose and it felt good.
It's a part of your game that, I don't know if it's underestimated, but the pressure is obviously, and the marking is a standout. But I think you're one of the best set shots I've ever, I haven't played with you, but like just been associated with, like just gun barrel straight. Is that something, I suppose, that I know you pride yourself on as a forward, you need to, but what have you done to, I guess, become so reliant in that part of the game?
Yeah, so my routine, I worked with Plugger Lockett and Nick Davis in Sydney. So both of them got my routine to
Not
where
bad
I wanted
mentors,
to.
those two.
Yeah, they were really great. And so I just obviously practice every day. And
what was Plugger's main?
Well, I had a longer run up, so Plugger had the 4-step kind of. Yeah. So I've shortened mine a little bit more, which is just good. He tried to get me 4 steps and kick, but I couldn't do it. So it's like a walk in 5.
Yeah.
But had great mentors there that helped with goal kicking, and just obviously practice every day. And as soon as I catch it inside 50, don't worry about anything else. It's just focus straight on my routine, which is I feel confident about.
I couldn't agree more. How straight it is amazing.
Yeah. So
when you speak about your routine, you've taken the mark, saying that in that final, and the game's on your boot, and you're outside 50. What's going on in your head? Are you counting? Are you chasing a feeling? Are you just totally blank up there and looking at your target? Like, I hear a lot of different advice.
Well, that mark, all I can remember is Jezza and Paddy and everyone just looking at me with like big grins. So I was looking at them going, I got to kick it first. The mark was probably the hard. I mean, the easiest part, but the goal was probably the hardest. But when I'm walking back to my mark, I'm just taking deep breaths, and then when I get lined up, and I just focus on my routine. Yeah,
that short run up, I think, is a great one because it's just less time to think about like everything that can go wrong. I think the guys that just walk in. I know Ben Brown's a bit of an exception. He's worked something out himself. But I think the shorter you can keep it, the tighter, the easier it is to repeat, and the less you have to think about it. I'm not saying I had it worked out in my career, but just through, working with players, I find that if they are struggling, bringing it back in tighter seems to work for them more often than not.
Let's not pretend it's the only big goal you've kicked. You've also, I believe, only the second player to kick goals after the siren to win the game for 2 different clubs. Well, I'll ask you both. Have you done any research? Do you know who the other player is?
Yeah, former Swan.
Really? No, yes. I don't know this.
Former Swan went to Bulldogs.
Yeah, right.
Big forward.
Barry.
Yep.
Barry.
Big bad Barry. Yeah, right. It's a nice little club. Do you guys catch up?
Yeah. It's a one-on-one.
Have dinner.
I'm a bit scared if I went to go one-on-one with Baz.
Put the gloves on, like
yeah.
Wow.
Well, the first one in Sydney, I probably should have missed from the goal square, so that was pretty easy. But the one out here was probably one of my favourite ones against the Dogs.
Is that a COVID crowd? Or
yeah, the crowd just came back, which is good.
Oh, right.
I would hate to do it with no crowd.
Yeah.
Because this bay was full, but maybe not the whole stadium.
Yeah.
But you
Oh,
could
yeah.
turn
The whole
to
this day,
yeah.
How good. And you
Awesome.
always knew it was right to left going in?
Yeah, so I actually broke my hand the week before, so it was strapped up and my ball drop was a bit iffy. So in the warm-up, they kept swinging right to left. And I was like, oh, geez, radio. So as soon as that marked, I went for the right goalpost. And it took a while to swing in. I was going, oh, no, I've missed this. And then, yeah, eventually it swung in, which is good.
And you got the one fist celebration going.
Yeah,
I love my little idiosyncrasies in the players, and I reckon that's, having watched your highlights from when you debuted down here on this ground till now, your celebrations stayed true. So respect.
Goal swing
I
on the
love
weekend.
that.
Yeah, goal swing.
Yeah, that comes afterwards.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I guess, Byrnesy works in the development part of the club, and you are now pursuing some coaching. How much of a focus is that for you, and what enjoyment are you taking out of working with us gals?
Yeah, I've always had an interest in coaching. When I was at Sydney, I helped coach the Swans Academy. I did that for about 3 years, so I enjoyed it there. And when I came back, I was always interested when the AFL Women started, and being close with Dan, and it just gives me another avenue to switch off from being a player. But yeah, I really enjoyed the coaching and the development side of things. When I play reserves, I enjoy helping the young ones out when I'm playing reserves in the VFL, and then with AFLW also. I'm really enjoying that. Is a role there, willing to learn. You're always asking questions, and I feel like I'm going okay with it. So
no,
I
you
really
absolutely are. I feel like, I don't want it to sound patronising, but I feel like you're better at it than you think you are, and the girls get such a buzz out of you being out there, and particularly when you join in a match play kind of drill. It's hard to defend, but we enjoy it. So I think we get a real kick of you being out there. And, I think historically when male players have come to join in and be part of the W, it's some people think, what are they trying to get out of it? But it's so evident with your involvement that, you're here to make us a better club and a better team. So I look forward to some really abbreviated run-ups in our forward line. Yeah. Well, when I get down there to, when I look up at the box,
you kicked 4 goals on the training last night, so you were...
No, I didn't. But I know I get a kick out of winning the toss, and you tell me which way to go and giving you the point. So I hope that continues, long into the future, as does your career. Any closing questions?
No, I just think 200 games is unbelievable effort, mate. Especially with the injury setbacks that you've had, and even the position that you play. It's not a position that's ever the same week to week. So to provide, I guess, to get through a career the way that you have, what for you is as you sort of reflect on these milestone games, what do you look back on and most proud of to this part of your journey?
It's a good question. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
You got to get that 200 first.
Got to get it first, yeah, and then
you got a premiership medal. We haven't even touched on
that.
Well,
yeah, I know we've glossed over that, haven't we?
No, that was a good one. I don't know. I've just been I just love doing my role and my part for the team. I don't always want to be the one with the ball or want to kick in the goals. If I can put a block on, or if I can block someone else so someone else is free, I don't know, the little things that make a big thing in the end, I really enjoy. Even if I'm 1v2 in the forward line, I really get a kick out of that challenge. I'm going to win this. I don't know. I don't know if it's weird, but yeah, I feel like I'm really going to win that challenge. So, things like that I'm pretty proud of, and obviously the injuries and that to get through. And
well, having not played with you, I can only imagine you're one of the teammates that make you walk a bit taller and feel like, you're going to get that 100% effort whenever the ball's in your area. So it's good that you can reflect on that part of your journey and realise that you not only play your own part for the team, but I think you make your teammates around your job a little bit easier as well. So you should be proud of what you've achieved to this point, mate.
No,
it's been great.
Well said. Congratulations. Enjoy the game on the weekend.
Thank
Another
you.
few goals will be nice. Another few rundown tackles. I'm sure the Geelong crowd will be up and about knowing the significance of the occasion. So watch out, Hawthorn.
That's it.
Great to have you, Chucky.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Burnsy. Well, how good was that?
Yeah, awesome. I love that, we can have Chucky on here and celebrate his milestone, but because I feel like his role can be such an undervalued one from the outside in, because the possession count is never high in the role that Gary plays, and it's not all about that. His pressure, the way he crashes packs, and just how reliable he is as a set shot. He's just such a valuable member to that forward line setup, and just brings something very different to what the rest of our players bring in a lot of ways. So, it's just great that we can sit here and celebrate him individually, even if it is just for the week.
Yeah, because he doesn't seem too inclined to celebrate himself. He's pretty reserved in these kind of forums, but he possibly, as you say, doesn't get the kudos he deserves. And there's nothing better as a teammate than having someone line up on a set shot and thinking, this is going through.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
Now, I won't make you comment on this, but I think in recent weeks I've been like, can he play the whole game? I'm probably a bit biased, going to training with him and that sort of thing, but I thought his impact was extreme during the game on the weekend.
Yeah, no, I don't make the calls on any of that type of thing. I do get to warm up with him as the runner at the quarter time break, so we've got a bit of chemistry going there. Yeah, but yeah, he was well and truly ready to unleash in a full game on the weekend, and I think the way he played sort of showed that was the right decision.
Yeah. All right, we are going to take another break, and then we're going to come back to preview the big game on the weekend with Hawthorn right here at GMHBA Stadium, and we've got a few fan questions to get through as well, so we'll see you soon. Welcome back to our final segment of To the Final Bell, following that really awesome interview with one Gary Chucky Rowan. Is that a Sydney nickname that he had, or is that a Geelong nickname?
I need to look at the origins of that, but
I think Rugrats is the origins.
Well,
no,
yes, it is, but I don't know.
Oh my gosh, there wouldn't none of the young players these days would know the Rugrats. I wouldn't have thought.
No, because he went as Chucky for the big freeze slide, and a lot of players were questioning who he was. So you're right. There's I don't think half the team would know the Rugrats these days, unfortunately.
Anyway, we'll give him some research. Onwards to the Cats returning home to GMHBA Stadium. We are facing the Hawks. COVID aside, it's Hawthorn's first time here since 2006.
Yep.
Do you have any memories of that game having played in it?
I did play in it. I think we got rolled. I think they beat us pretty.
It was 52 points.
Yeah, pretty comfortably. 06 was not a great year for us, apart from the start. We started on fire, and then we're almost. I think we were premiership favourites early 06, and then ended up finishing 10th. So
right, none of that.
No, so they're bad vibes, and let's, what is it? How long? 18 years ago. So some of the players playing weren't even born. So I don't know the relevance to that game to this one, but we won't be as welcoming this time.
It's relevant when we're trying to promote the game on socials and we're drawing the parallels and getting the hype going. All these players in this terrible game went on to win many premierships between them. That's the good news story.
That's a good lens. Let's use that.
Let's go with 2024 though. The Hawks are in a really rich vein of form, and we've played them already this year. We got the job done on Easter Monday, but they seem to be a new team. Yeah,
they're certainly playing better footy than they were at that stage of the year. So while you take a bit of confidence that we can get the job done against them, I think we are playing a different outfit this week. Yep. But we're also playing on a different ground, and we want this place to be a fortress, and hopefully we can remind the Hawks of why this place is.
Why you don't come here.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So, it's going to be a really tough game. I think, if you were to say the season was 5 or 6 games old, they'd be the form team just about of the competition. So, while they sit below us on the ladder, they're certainly playing a much better brand of footy than that, and we're going to have to be at our best to beat them. Yeah,
is anything in their game that we think we're particularly wary of? They seem to be pretty adaptable with the way they're going about it, finding different avenues to goal, different forward. They've got quite a few, smaller forwards that are hitting the scoreboard a lot.
Yeah, I think you've summed that up pretty well. They do have many different avenues to goal. Their defence has really shored up in the past few weeks, so they haven't been easy to score against. I'm not sure if Sicily's playing this week. He's got a bit of a shoulder issue at the moment, but he's certainly an important piece for them back there. So that'll be interesting watch to see if he gets up for the game, because he's so important for their back six setup. They're someone that, like I said, we're going to have to be playing our best brand of footy to make sure we get the job done.
Yeah. Now it's going to be, I mean, as we're letting on, it's going to be a really exciting game and a really tough one to pick. Obviously, we're picking the Cats, but it's meant that we're expecting a full crowd here. It's 4:35 p.m. game on a Saturday. That time slot, that twilight time slot, that's been really great for us this season, and we've requested more and more of in the fixturing. It's school holidays. How important is it to get a full house down here?
Oh, yeah, it's crucial. We've got the stadium for it now, and it's at its best when it's full. And like you said, it's school holidays. It's perfect time for families to come. I'm going to get my kids along to the game.
Do they wear their hoops or do they wear the pink?
Yeah, they got the pink underneath when they need. No, they do wear the hoops. They love it. Got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old, so they're getting right into it. But it's perfect time to bring your kids, because you can get all the Saturday activities out of the way and still make the most of your day early on, but then it's not too late to finish for the kids as well. So hopefully there's a lot of families in the crowd, and it is at full capacity, because I reckon that's when our boys play their best.
Yeah. No, speaking of capacity, I believe the general admission can still scan in. There'll be standing and seats available for them. But if you've got a reserve seat membership, I think we're pretty much done for general public ticket sales. So if you've got a reserve seat and you can't attend, please do contact the club and return that seat, because we want to get as close to 40,000 as we possibly can. We've got a health update, because we're recording on Wednesday, so the health update is already out as of yesterday. It says that Ollie Henry is available to play. So I think Scotty said in his post game that he's almost certain to come back in.
Yep.
But there are a couple of, it's getting a bit tight for selection, even though we've sort of flipped the magnets a bit.
Yeah, like I touched on earlier, is we've got so many players playing well in the VFL and that's what you need. Essentially, if you're going to be a serious contender in the season, you need to have 4 or 5 blokes knocking on the door in the VFL ready to come in. So Ollie, got through training today, and without knowing selection, wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in. But who do you take out?
Lingy has a way around that. We just go with ins and no outs. So it's usually 25 to 26 each week.
Okay,
so Ollie's in, everyone else stays in.
I love that.
Great
we've got a number of players that can step up, like you saw Lawson did on the weekend, just gone by. So there will be players ready to take that spot if it presents.
Yeah, one of them is certainly Sean Manor. I don't know if he will get a game on the weekend, because as you touched on earlier, you are privileged to work with perhaps the best band of small forwards in the comp.
Yep.
But he's doing his bit. He kicked 6 goals in the VFL on the weekend.
Oh, he was brilliant. 6 goals, had 20-odd touches.
By the third quarter, I think.
Yeah. He was absolutely on
Fatherhood,
fire.
it's working.
Yeah, well, he had his little girl Marnie in the stands. His wife Sarah was up in the stands, so maybe he lifted for that. I said to both of them that they need to beat every game now. Everything he touched turned to gold on the weekend. So, he's obviously a clear standout as to one of the guys that could just step in for us this week, whether it would be a sub role or he could just step straight into on ground as well. But he's well and truly, ready to go and step up. Mitch Hardy, that was another one, had a great week. Teddy Closey was unbelievable in his defensive pursuits, as he always is. I think he had 10 tackles to half-time on the weekend. So we've got guys that are playing good footy, Parfitt as well, and Busey as well. So just that there's that 5 or 6 that I was touching on earlier, that you need to have guys like that ready to go. Because as the season wears on, you're going to have to use more than just 22 soldiers.
Yeah, so the VFL team that we were referring to won their round 14 clash against Sandringham by 15 points, and they will take on Box Hill on Sunday against the Hawks as well. Opening bounce at 2:05. That is either in Box Hill or at Geelong. We'll confirm.
I think it's Box Hill.
Box Hill.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get to some fan questions, and we haven't really included too many of the when will X player get a game, as we've just touched on. We're aware. Speaking on behalf of the club, we are aware that we've got some excellent performances happening at every level, but the AFL say you can only play so many players each week.
I know, right?
So that's our official response to that one. But as Lawson's shown, once they do get their go, they'll be ready to go. So you, speaking of the kids, had to leave a minute ago. So we've got one minute of rapid fire.
Yeah,
is that all right?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. You can 1 word, 2 word, 1 name answers. From the fans. Ready, steady, go. At Amelia Phelan, 13, most likely to win the Brownlow.
The Bont. Bont has been very good, and Isaac Heaney is probably another one who I think will be right up there.
They're both great, but I love he's got to win one. He's such a legend. All right.
Yeah.
Jake Minogue _ will we be able to buy the new AFLW Clash strip? I asked the question, guys. I think not at this stage, but do you know what? We will respond to demand, I'm sure. So if you're loving it, get loud. Irish Shud's favourite pre-game snack?
Banana for me. I find that's a really good fruit to have just before you head out. Nice little energy lift that gets you going. Yep.
Love a banana sandwich and or the Carmen, this is not sponsored, but the Carmen salted caramel oat bars. Our dietitian brings those out. They're very popular.
Nice.
Jasmine Grace _ 14. How do you feel about having Stengel to 2029? We haven't touched on that, but great news during the week.
I'm stoked. I love him. I think, he just has a talent that not many small forwards have and can kick a goal from anywhere, but you just feel confident when the ball's in his area. So it's just great news for the footy club.
Great news. Hopefully we'll still be there in 2029 as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Indigo.Wills 2. What's your favourite time to play?
Favourite time? Well, I think it's becoming that twilight.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm enjoying the twilight. Yeah, it gives you a bit of both, and you can still prep. Your preparation is pretty sound because you get lunch at the right time and everything like that. So I'm going to go with twilight.
Yeah, I agree as well because I love a little bit of day, but the drama of ending under lights and then, you can still get in bed at a reasonable time. So
let's go with that.
I think it was Ash or Ass _ Leash. My boys want to know what's everyone's favourite movie treat.
Popcorn's an easy answer, I think. I don't feel as guilty eating popcorn because it's light as well. So I don't feel as sick after it. Whereas other treats, I'll just devour in seconds and feel bad 10 minutes later. Yeah, popcorn, a bit more. You stretch it out over a greater period of time. Yeah,
I do love the popcorn Malteser combo, but keep them separated for me, one then the other.
Nice.
Jane Cherry, in the vein of Rattling Bog, what would your post-goal celebration songs be?
I think the club would come up with something for someone small. Is there some sort of, I don't know, small person song? I'd have to think. Let's come back to that.
Maybe something Byrnes related.
Oh, Byrnes is good, actually. Burn and Ring and Fire by Johnny Cash. Let's go with that. That's much better than picking on my height.
What about Johnny Farnham, Burn for You?
Burn for You. I love Johnny.
That's a great song.
That's a classic, actually.
No, I didn't just swear again, listeners.
Yes.
I wanted to go with something by MegMac for obvious reasons, but it's not necessarily the post-goal vibe. So this year I went for...
sleeves,
exactly. Grandma's Hands.
Oh, yeah. Grandma's Hands.
I went with Delta Goodrum, Top of the World this year, and didn't kick a goal, so she'll roll with that one again this year. License _2 Phil. See what you've done there. Is it too early to make Lawson Humphreys captain / coach?
No, I think Scotty's going to have a presser today, and that's going to happen. So
okay.
That's look out for that. No, just a touch early on that, Phil. But I like the confidence you've got in him.
Yeah. Mia _Ozzo. This handle was cut off a little bit, so that's what I think it was. Who has the most aura on the team?
I would say Jezza. Just Jezza, because it's a bit hard to know what's going on in his head sometimes, which can create aura, because if you know what they're thinking, then
an enigma,
yes,
a mystique.
But he's
bit
able
aloof.
to, yes, a bit aloof, but just sees things differently to others, but can do things much differently to others, and yeah, he's one of those guys that gets you through the gates to come and watch. So I'll say Jez.
Yeah, I would say a developing one, because we did the open training and I was next to him for the signings, is Ollie Dempsey. Everyone's loving his work.
Agreed.
And he's got it all happening for him at the moment, and the crowd's responding.
Yep.
And final one, Lucas Cass. Lawson should become a small forward. Any chance he will move around positions?
Well, as we touched on earlier, players need, I think, need to be open to the fact that they could play in any position on the ground at any given stage. So there's no way you would just say Lawson is going to be a half back and that's his lot in life for his whole career. I'm sure that the team's going to require different needs at different times, and Lawson's got the skill set to be able to go forward. Whether that happens or not, absolutely no idea, but he has the capabilities of doing it.
And when he's captain coach, he'll just put himself where
that's
he's
true.
most needed.
Yeah, so when that happens, he'll go there.
All right, Cats fans, that is us done for this week. Thank you, Burnsy, for joining me.
Thanks for having me,
out. Don't know what you're doing next week, but we need another.
Lingy's still on holidays, is he?
He's got one more week of holidays.
Yeah,
so
right.
it was good to have you. Apologies to the fans for the slightly clunkier transitions today. Lingy's pretty much a pro at all this sort of stuff, but I'm sure you will have made it through and loved listening to Gary Rowan. Get to GMHBA Stadium 4:35 on Saturday for us to take on the Hawks. The best way to get a ticket, if you can't access them as a member of the general public, is to sign up to become One in Hoops and get yourself a Cats membership, because that'll get you into the game where you and I will be there.
I'll be there
You'll
in the
be
pinks.
Probably in a more official role, but
yep.
We'll both be doing our bit to support the Cats.
Yep, watch for the runner first off the ground. I'm going to get the W this week.
All right, I'll take notes. See you next week, everyone.
Cheers. See you guys.